Termination of parental rights hearing? Yeah. I don't remember getting any notice of a termination of parental rights hearing. No. Mm-mm. I don't remember you telling me that you were going to terminate my parenting rights. Now, this excuse what is called domestic violence. Yeah. Mr. Budnick knew what his charges were and understood they were classified as gross misdemeanors. He has spent considerable time researching the law in the library. So I did not waste his time or mine asking him to define the roles of the courtroom personnel, his plea options, and various court terminology. Now, let's say that you issued a 10-year protection order. Yes. Where three of the minors named are going to be adults. Yes. Before the expiration of it. And you issued it without the consent of the spouse. Now, it could have been at that time, yes, that the spouse that I happen to be married to, that I want to divorce, yes, did not want my sons not being able to speak to me. Now, probably at this time, she would say, sure, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yes. I mean, that would be smart, wouldn't it? Yeah. Because what spouse would say, well, I, I really, I really am so afraid, right, of my spouse, yes, that I want him to not be able to talk to his sons until they're adults. Yes. Now, that kind of hearing would be the terminating of parental rights hearing. Yes. But that's not what you had. You had a protection order hearing. Now, how many parenting rights can be terminated without any notice or opportunity to be heard? Is there any obligation on the state, yes, to have to make sure, yes, right nostril, ooh, somebody's really picking their nose right now, yes. How many states have an obligation to make sure that any time you give full custody of children to one of the spouses, that the other spouse has to get notice of dissolution, yes, has to get a dissolution, yes, and then when you issue protection orders, yes, the other spouse does have to get notice, right, of actual court hearings. Now let's look at it. hmm You said that you could issue a 10-year protection order that terminates my parenting rights, yes, without the consent of the spouse, yes, using the forgery of the employees of the court, yes, without any proof of service, not realizing that when it expires, it effectively terminates the parenting rights of four of the children. Now, I would have thought that at the age of 18, there was some sort of obligation to allow one of the biological children, yes, to be able to testify to the court on whether or not they wanted to be included in the protection order. Most of those that can be emancipated, yes, at the age of 16, yes, they can be emancipated as long as a relative, yes, a friend, an adult, yes, does agree to the emancipation. Now, this idea of you terminating parenting rights because you issued a 10-year protection order that you're refusing to remove, yeah, I'm going to sue you, and I'm going to sue you on behalf of the parents of the United States of America. Now, it could be a class action, yes, where I'm the lead plaintiff, and then I just send out notices to every parent that has a child. How many of you want the United States of America terminating your parenting rights without any court hearing and because of the issuance of any court order, yes, where you do not receive any, well, those rights, yeah. My rights are their rights. How many parents of the United States want the court to issue custody orders that effectively terminates parental rights without you as a parent getting notice and opportunity to be heard? Yes. And then for every parent that has never had a protection order issued against them, yes, or issued for them, How many of you do not want the United States to enforce your right to get notice of court hearings? Now, it could be one of those multi-hundred billion. These rights actually are their rights, just like they're mine. Now, I informed you, yes, that I wanted custody of my sons. You as a court said, well, we just can't remove our court orders. And for whatever excuse you've been using, yes, it doesn't matter to me because you've terminated my parental rights without any hearing. Now, you cannot deprive Americans of due process. That involves every parent that has a child, yes, that wants a protection order, yes, or wants to respond to a protection order, yes. They all have to have due process. Now, the court issued orders that did not have any due process. There was no due process for the terminating of the parenting rights of myself, yes. There was no agreed upon due process for the petitioner, yes. And the truth of the matter